Weber.
No, we're not. Welcome, everyone. We're live with Gary Peter Carlson, and this is an interactive program on which is a sole analysis of the U.S. midterm elections. Today is November 10th, 2022, and the U.S. midterm elections took place on November 8th, 2022. Welcome, Gary.
Thank you, Alfred. I appreciate you having me again. And I'm interested in hearing what you have concerning the eclipse.
Yeah, okay. Well, we had been studying in a series of 5 or more webinars, and I want to begin to share this properly, but we had been studying the whole effect here. Let me just go here.
You couldn't see the eclipse from the United States.
Right.
It was on the other side of the world.
Okay. Here, let me bring what I'm talking about up here, and this was a series of 5 or 6 webinars that we did in 2018 to 19 with Canadian author here in British Columbia, Sheldon Moore, who's the author of Remembers Then. And the whole thing there, the focus was finding enlightenment during a full lunar eclipse. And during these 5 webinars, what Sheldon Moore showed is starting that the Buddha found enlightenment during a full lunar eclipse. And that's the purpose of lunar eclipse, is to help us find enlightenment. And so in these 5 webinars, which are newsinsideout.com, he goes into the theory of it. And so what we'll do now is we'll explore some of the reasoning behind it. Let me just go here again. I'm going to change pictures here, and
I'm getting that the Sheldon Moore has a reptilian. I'm getting that Sheldon Moore has a reptilian soul.
Well, I experience him as a very high spiritual being. So
maybe we can look at it that way too while we're examining him more.
Very high spiritual being. So let me find here part 3. So here we have, going again over here, the astronomy of enlightenment. So can you see this slide here?
Yeah, it looks like a stopped video, the astronomy of enlightenment, a couple of pictures.
Yeah, how individual enlightenment, at what they call astrological enlightenment, can occur during a lunar eclipse.
It looks like the Jewish candle thing turned sideways.
Yeah, well, according to him, the 7 candles of the menorah signify the 7 chakras. In other words, this is ancient wisdom. And on the left there, you can see,
I haven't heard that before,
inside the figure of the man, there's a white sphere. That white sphere is the person's soul.
Okay.
And then up in the upper right, you can see there's a lunar eclipse, that kind of orange
Mm-hmm.
bowls. And according to this presentation, the soul, which is the spiritual being, is greatly affected by magnetics, which includes the lunar eclipse. And so during the lunar eclipse, if you look at the figure on the right there, you'll see that you'll see that the person's soul, the eclipse draws the person's soul up through the crown chakra, up above the crown chakra, up into the connection with God. And that's the definition of enlightenment. That takes drawing the soul from where it normally is in the solar plexus on the illustration on the left, up to the above of the crown chakra is a method that can take 20 to 30 years of meditation in a Buddhist or Zen or other context. And here, in a lunar eclipse, the magnetics of the lunar eclipses facilitate the enlightenment process, and it draws the soul of the person, not every person, but up to the crown chakra and above the crown chakra into the God connect, so that the person has a much more ascended, enlightened soul, and is actually ascending from kind of a 3D more to a 4 or a 5D perspective. So that's how enlightenment can affect the soul. And so then there are also articles which bear on this. Let me see if we can come to some of these articles and share them here so that you can see what we're talking about.
If a person is enlightened, does that mean they have loaded with inner knowledge?
Yeah, your soul is more godlike. It's more connected to God. So here we have, for example, a sample article from Bustle, which says, I'll start reading it. Full beaver moon will challenge you to lean into chaos. It's the tail end of the eclipse season, so you're not quite out of the woods just yet. The November 2022 full beaver moon, which arrives on November 8th, is the final eclipse of the year, and it's doing its usual eclipse business, unveiling secrets and revving us into emotional overdrive. La Luna will be stationed in strong-willed Taurus, the sign of all material comforts and living lavishly. So expect financial surprises. But when you know the spiritual meaning of full beaver moon, you will better understand how to work with this chaotic energy. In astrology, full moons represent release and manifestation. It's a fairly dramatic full circle moment where the full moon shines its sparkly high beams into our hidden feelings and buried thoughts, making them hard to ignore. Eclipses amplify the chaotic vibes into twists of fate, forcing us to face the problems and emotions we tend to keep dodging. This quote, this rare eclipse will have us making decisions more swiftly than we prefer, and you may discover something that needs attention before we enter this next season. Lunar eclipses help us realize the external implications of these shifts. It is often during a lunar eclipse that we become aware of the influence of others. And here's another article, which again was written before the election, but I think is very interesting. And I'll bring it up now. Let me just go there and bring this one up. Here we go. How the total lunar eclipse is giving full chaos just in time for election day. Here's what the astrologers want you to know. So let me read that, read relevant portions from that one. If the cosmos has anything to say about, full-scale upheaval is on the horizon. As the Earth throws its shadow over the full moon in the upcoming lunar eclipse in Taurus on November 8th, previously hidden truths are practically destined to come to light. Energetically, a lunar eclipse is like an extra potent full moon, bringing big-time endings, revelations, and release. But according to astrologers, this lunar eclipse is bound to hit even more dramatically than a typical, already potent eclipse might, and on midterm election day, no less, thanks to the tense celestial space it will occupy. In general, astrologer Susan Miller says that lunar eclipses are the most dramatic tool that the universe uses to affect change and speed up timetables for necessary action. The reason these alignments prompt such cosmic shock waves has to do with our positioning in them. While a regular full moon is in opposition between the sun and the moon, lunar eclipses put the Earth right in the middle of this opposition. Lunar eclipses are the most dramatic tool that the universe uses to affect change and speed up timetables for necessary action. This could have pretty world-rocking ramifications given the core areas over which these opposite sign rules. Comfort, love, values, and grounded earth for Taurus, and transformation, death, rebirth, and emotional waters for Scorpio. Not to mention both Taurus and Scorpio are fixed signs, making them highly resistant to disruption and change. And a lunar eclipse is a marked change. Translations: the shifts prompted by the total lunar eclipse in Taurus aren't likely to be easy or comfortable ones to bear. The friction will be only further magnified by Uranus simultaneous conjunction. Given the rest of the celestial landscape, it's clear that this total lunar eclipse in Taurus will leave no zodiac. How the lunar eclipse could pan out on the political stage this election day. Because this total lunar eclipse in Taurus aligns with the midterm elections, a decisive moment for our collective safety and security, Tauran themes, the fate of the country, a North Node theme, it's worth considering the two in conjunction. In case you couldn't guess, based on all the forecasted upheaval for the lunar eclipse, things aren't exactly looking rosy for election day. The energy of this eclipse is not favorable for an easeful and supportive expression of the democratic process. The energy, she predicts that things might even move backward and the shakeup. The current Mars retrograde in Gemini is not doing us any favors. Instead, surround yourselves with comforts, community, and self-love so that you can comfortably let go. Amid the turbulence, it's also helpful to know that this is just one phase of a 2-year evolution as we move through the eclipses. Whatever topics were especially top of the mind last November might resurface again. The thing to remember is that this is all a work in progress. Okay, well, there's still more articles, but I just wanted to get across the idea that there was a lunar eclipse on election day, that lunar eclipses are seen by at least one Buddhist scholar who says that the Buddha achieved enlightenment on a lunar eclipse, that lunar eclipses are magnetics that can affect your soul, and that there's an enlightenment. So that the standard definition of how a lunar eclipse might affect an election is more chaos, but there's also another meaning which relates to ascension, and that is that the effect of the lunar eclipse on November 8th could have been a mass ascension energy, because everybody was affected by that lunar eclipse to have their soul expand. Those that were more aware of it could have had their soul go through their crown chakra, and you get more into the God space. And so maybe that's why the US, rather than experiencing a violent election, man, that was a far out election, a very unexpected one. And it's the one in which there were the lowest number of losses by a sitting president in over 40 years. And when the youth came out and women came out and people came out to defend their basic rights, which were under attack in all sorts of areas. So that's the context that I kind of wanted to bring this to. Now, Gary Peter Carlson, whose website is icheckyoursoul.com, has prepared and has come to us with a presentation today on sort of a soul analysis of the outcomes of the November 8, 2022 midterm elections. And so I wanted to set this up as an ongoing dialogue and context, larger context between myself and Gary. In fact, Gary asked me for the program to be more interactive. So we'll have a lot of interaction by the both of us. What I'm going to do now is I presented the general context of the lunar eclipse, which was affecting the whole planet. And isn't it amazing synchronistically that a lunar eclipse where the Buddha went into enlightenment or ascension happened on November 8, 2022. So Gary, with that context, I'm going to turn it over to you now to share with us your presentation and insights and your soul report and on the November 8th midterm election, and then we'll listen to your knowledge and insights, and then we'll take it from there. So over to you, Gary.
All right. Oh, I've been following it some, and I voted myself. Not that that's going to make much difference. They talked about this big red wave wiping everything out and winning all the elections. And now they're saying that it was just a light wave, and they won some elections, and they took control of the House of Representatives and likely the Senate, but it's not in yet on the Senate. There was like a recall election in November or December or something, and maybe some other elections that aren't decided yet. I guess they got more ballots to look at or find or something. I'll tell you that there definitely is a lot of cheating going on. And I'll give you a real clear cut example. And this is so ridiculous. It's hard to believe that this is allowed to take place. In Arizona, there's a governor race. And I can't remember both names. Kerry Lake, I think, is the Republican expected to win. But on the other side, this lady, it was two women against each other. The Democrat won. She already had the job of overseeing the whole election. And then she's running for governor. And she has a reptilian soul. So she's automatically going to cheat and running the whole deal. She probably has a variety of ways to cheat. And what she decided to do is in the sections where the most people were figured to vote for her opponent, she made the voting machines not work, so the people didn't get the vote. They waited in long lines to vote, and then the polls closed and they're still in line, and they put in to let it open longer because of these machine malfunctions, and the judge ruled against that, said no, got to close it. So that's how that election was cheated. I can't believe that was allowed to take place.
So you think that the because I watched the multiple interviews with a guy named Bill Gates, what a name, who is the election officer in Arizona, who's in charge.
A different Bill Gates?
Yeah, it's not Bill Gates of
pharmaceutical
yeah. Bill Gates in Arizona is in charge of keeping the the count, and he explained multiple times that ink issue that they had in the election machine issues was a technical issue, that it did not have a great effect, and that it was an overreaction by the Carrie Lake people. And the Carrie Lake people have been hyper paranoid, sort of, because a day or two prior to the election, they had a bomb scare and they had a white powder scare at their headquarters, and their headquarters were shut down. But there's been multiple reports that those ink cartridges in those particular printers, that was just a technical glitch. Those were fixed immediately, and they did not affect the. There was no indication of tampering. It was a technical thing, and he was questioned multiple times, pretty closely. I myself watched it because I've been poll watching via television nonstop. So I would dispute your conclusion that there was cheating. What does your pendulum say? Is there cheating in the Arizona gubernatorial or not?
Yeah, I get a super strong yes right away on that.
Okay.
I mean, just cause the guy that got to look at it and could say it's technical, and he had nothing to do with cheating or causing it, doesn't mean somebody else didn't have the power to set that up to happen. So it would cause.
So what you're saying is that your analysis, you're disputing the analysis of the Arizona election officials, Bill Gates, and you're saying that you're getting cheating, that there's a concerted effort to keep Carrie late. No, Patricia L. is saying I'm being biased. I'm not being biased. I'm trying to get to the truth here, because anybody who's been following the January 6th committee knows that the 2020 election, there's huge amounts of fabrications and fraud.
They lie in every possible way on every possible thing. They have souls that don't have empathy for others. So they only care about themselves and their group. And doing something that's wrong doesn't matter if it achieves their goals or it's part of their agenda. Now, as far as this voting machine broken stuff, the end result of that was a bunch of people didn't get the vote. And if that particular group of people that didn't get the vote were the most likely supporters of Carrie Lake, come on now. I mean, there's got to be some kind of chance that was set up to happen at that time.
Look, I can see that. I can see that Carrie Lake, there are signs that she was targeted by the deep state. One of the principal signs, I believe, is that her campaign headquarters was targeted by a bomb and by white powder 2 days prior to the election. So that seems to be pretty negative. And I can see how the deep state would want to target Carrie Lake, because Carrie Lake said that she is going to, when she is sworn in as governor, if she wins and is sworn in as governor, what Carrie Lake is going to do is invoke Article 1, Section 10 of the U.S. Constitution to counter the U.S. federal government control over the southern border, and she's going to declare an invasion of the southern border, and she's going to shut down the southern border using Article 1, Section 10 of the U.S. Constitution. So that's a direct conflict with the federal government. So she's setting up a direct conflict, and I can see how an agency like the FBI, which may be compromised, or other federal agencies are nervous about her, especially since in Texas, the Texas Republican Party, as part of its official platform, adopted secession from the United States of Texas as a plank in its official platform. This is the Republican Party of Texas. In 2022, adopted secession. Over to you.
Well, all that crap is all caused by people that aren't human. They got human bodies.
Right. But I think that the non-human people are, they're dispersed throughout, and Trump is not human.
Right.
Trump is a lizard at best, a Draco at worst. So could you go down and do you have a list of the results, and could you go down and?
No, I started to do that, but there was too many and too hard to get it.
Okay.
But I looked overall. I mean, I was looking through them real fast as they went on TV and stuff, and I saw that it was like 2-1 Republican wins over Democratic wins, and every single person in the House is up for election every 2 years. So there's a lot of action there. There's a lot, the bigger states like New York and Illinois and California have a lot of representatives. So there's a lot of results to look through in the bigger states, Texas also. I saw mostly a Republican wins, and there's all kinds of claims on cheating and stuff, and hopefully that there'll be investigations, and some of this cheating will get found, and the people will be arrested. I mean, I think they just gotta grab these people that are obviously evil and have done evil, and check their aura, and when their aura shows that they're not human, arrest them and incarcerate them, get them out of power, out of society. I mean, look at Fordham University. It's one of about 5 colleges left that is enforcing this jab mandate or whatever it is. You can't continue to go to college.
You mean that is off topic. So let's keep the thing here and not talk about an injection. Okay, we talked about that.
Okay, yeah, I was just saying they should, instead of it being a court case, it should be a criminal case. I think they should arrest the people at the top on that, rather than trying to reverse the decision in court. That's what I'm getting at here. Okay, and another thing they're arguing about is this war in Ukraine, and what's basically happening there is Russia is trying to capture land and make it part of Russia. And Ukraine is saying, no, this is our land, and we got to get it back. Okay, suppose Russia quits the war and walks out. Now, on this disputed land that Russia thinks it should be theirs and Ukraine thinks it should be theirs, who's been living on it for the last few hundred years? Do you know, Alfred?
Well, look, Russia, the Ukraine was made part of Russia by Stalin during the Soviet Union. Prior to that, it was a completely independent nation.
Okay.
When the Soviet Union was disassembled, the Ukraine became a sovereign, independent state.
Well, it was Ukraine that,
yeah.
Okay, it was part of the Soviet Union, and it was called Ukraine. And they tried to starve them out in 1933 by taking all the grain out of the country, and a bunch of them starved to death because they were protesting being in the Soviet Union. Okay, Stalin killed a bunch of people and solved that problem. And so now the Ukrainians hated the Russians. So in 53, Khrushchev gave part of Russia and said it's now part of Ukraine, thinking it didn't really matter because it's all Soviet Union, so what difference does it make? But when the Soviet Union ended and then went back to Russia in each country, now Ukraine had more land. But who's living on this more land? It's all Russian-speaking people. And they've been living on this land for hundreds of years. So if Russia would walk out of the war and let Ukraine have this land back, Ukraine would immediately start shelling and fighting with the people on this land. And I guess try to kill them all or make them flee into Russia. And then they take the land for themselves. But that ain't right. The Russian people have been living on there for hundreds of years.
Gary, look, to take your own example, let me just take your own example, and then I'd like to go down back to the U.S. election.
Okay, yeah. All right.
This is my book, Exopolitics. Dr. Courtney Brown, director of the Farsight Institute.
Yeah, I'm familiar with him.
A whole introduction on remote viewing and exopolitics. We use remote viewing to develop part of exopolitics. And I'm subscribed to the Farsight Institute. And about right after the Ukrainian-Russia war started, about a month or so ago, a couple of months, the Farsight Institute did a remote viewing of Putin and his immediate circle, and it's published, and it is in a book of mine that I'll discuss later. But what they found, and this is now a matter of public record, is that Putin himself and his public record is surrounded by interdimensional Draco-reptilians that are surrounding him interdimensionally and affecting all of the Russian decisions. The Russians are being manipulated by the interdimensional Draco-reptilians. And this is exopolitical objective evidence through remote viewing that is correct. And we have the Farsight Institute's report on it. And the whole war that was started by Russia and all these threats of nuclear and taking people into fear, I mean, this is a solar system that has had a planet, Tiamat, pulverized into the asteroid belt because of a reptilian human nuclear war 705,000 years ago. Now, Putin is captured by, interdimensionally, he is entrained and captured by the interdimensional Draco-reptilians. And the Russians, the portion of the Russians are carrying out Draco-reptilian aggressive war according to the remote viewing of the Farsight Institute, which I think is quite.
Did it show Putin being a lizard or a Draco or anything?
This goes beyond your static analysis of whether a person is a reptilian.
You know, they're direct.
It goes to the interdimensional dimensional ecology and the dynamics. Dynamically, interdimensional reptilians have gotten hold of Putin's mind and will and that of his inner circle, and that was what has prompted this war. They are behind this conflict, and that's why it's so totally out of left field, because it's a draconian war. That's what I wanted to bring to your attention.
Yeah, I get Putin uses technical nuclear weapons and wins the war. That's what I get.
Yeah, and he's playing that, and that is totally Antichrist. That is Antichrist, because we're in a solar system where a planet has already been destroyed, and 2 billion human souls had to be transferred from that planet to Earth, where they are now incarnating.
Well, I mean, it's so ridiculous for the other side to demand this land that Russian people have been living on for hundreds of years, just so they can shell them and try to drive them off the land.
Look,
I mean, it's stupid that this war is continuing.
That is incorrect. If you take those areas many parts of Ukraine are ethnically Russian, but nationally they're Ukrainian. And they have been so. They've been part of Ukraine forever, and were only forcibly made part of Russia by Stalin, by force, under a communist dictatorship. And when the Soviet Union was broken up, then Ukraine gained back its independence. But
it was okay until 2014. They got along and they both participated in the government. But then the U.S. draconian side came in and kick all the Russians out of the government and take over their country, and they aren't going to be in the government, and we're going to shell them. And then they said, "Oh, we're not representative. We're going to be our own country." And then there's been a war there since 2014.
Okay,
it's all Russian people living on that land. Why do they got to be kicked off the land? Why is that? Why do they demand that they get to do that to them? I mean, there's no reason this war should stop on sensible grounds. It will when the reptilians are gone.
Yeah, I think that there's as much evidence that Putin and his inner circle are being driven by interdimensional reptilians. So it's reptilians that are forcing humans to fight each other, that are forcing Ukraine and Russia to fight each other.
I'm sure it is.
War, rather than going and solving this by diplomacy. I suggest that we get back to the 2022 midterm election, which is what is the topic of this panel. Okay?
Okay. I'm ready for election questions.
Okay. So I've now brought up there's Ballotopedia election results. And we're looking at Arizona, and we have the U.S. election. We have Mark Kelly, the Democrat, and Blake Masters. I guess this is current. It looks like
Kelly won, yeah, but I'm getting that he's not going to win.
That Mark Kelly's not going to win?
Right. I'm getting that he'll lose in the investigation or something.
Okay.
We'll see. I mean, that's pretty bold for the pendulum to say that. That's not that close there. The guy's like 10% ahead.
Well, let's go to Georgia.
Okay.
So in Georgia, it looks like we're going to have
the runoff.
Yeah, but
what they say.
What about
30,000 votes ahead?
What about? I mean, but look, I tried to frame this as an enlightenment ascension election because of the effect of the eclipse, so that there could have been a really bad outcome. But in fact, what occurred is that we had the highest midterm election turnout since John F. Kennedy. Okay? People went to the ballots, and they went to the ballots to protect democracy. And we know that from the exit polls. Okay? I spent the last 3 days watching this, watching all of these election things. So in Mark Kelly and Blake Masters, do you have anything to say spiritually or from a soul level?
Okay, Mark Kelly, he's reptilian. And Blake Masters he's in cycle with a average soul score.
It's what?
Let's see. What's three? Yeah, he's got like a 40 soul score, and he's inside. He's in cycle 70% done with his cycle. He's like an average guy.
So is Blake Masters a human soul?
Yeah, Blake is just an average guy, and Mark Kelly is a reptilian.
Okay. So now let's go to the gubernatorial. Well, no, let's stay with the U.S. Senate. No, let's go with the gubernatorial in Arizona. So here we have Katie Hobbs and Carrie Lake. Now, right. In this showing, and this is Ballotopedia, I don't know, this shows Katie Hobbs leading Carrie Lake.
Okay, now this is a case where Katie Hobbs is in charge. Her job is to run the whole election, and she's running for governor. That shouldn't be allowed. She should have to step down from her job, and somebody else should be appointed to that job if she's going to run for governor.
Okay, so who is going to win the? Okay, so from a soul point of view, could you give us a readout?
Katie Hobbs, she's reptilian.
And Carrie Lake.
Draconia, and Carrie Lake is in cycle. 90, 80, 70, 60% done with her cycle. Her soul score is she's got like a 45 soul score. So she's pretty good.
So she's human, is what you're saying.
Human, and has a 45 soul score, and she's 60% of her cycle of third density is completed. So she's a young soul going through the cycle, and she's over half done, and she knows what's going on, and she's got a reasonable soul score.
Okay.
Not spiritual, but she's a normal average person that's looking to do good.
Okay, now the U.S. House. Okay. Okay, let me go back. Let me,
Want to go to another state or something?
yeah, just hold on. I'm going to go to another state. Georgia. Now, Senate, we had a there's a 30-day runoff to December 6th between Raphael Warnock and Herschel Walker. Could you give me a soul readout on them?
Okay. I've looked at this extensively already. Okay. To begin with, Herschel Walker is this famous, fantastic football player. Had a long career and did real good in college and a long career in the pros. And he was exceptional person on the football field. And he's black, but he's got a Category 1 soul. And this other guy that he's running against, Raphael Warnock, who's Democrat, and he has a reptilian soul.
Now, when you say Herschel Walker has a Category 1 soul, what does that mean? Is that a human soul?
Okay, black people as a group get Category 2 souls. Basically, your oversoul goes through first and second density, and it's rated on how they do. And the bottom half gets Category 2, and the top half gets Category 1. And then those oversouls are moved up to third density, and Category 1 souls get an 8% boost to be smarter and more spiritual. And half the souls get it and half don't. And blacks and Middle Easterners and Pacific Islanders generally get Category 2 souls. But they have intermarriage with the Category 1 groups, which are whites and Asians, and that includes the American Indians and the Hispanics, are all Category 1. So they got intermarriage between the two, and when the kids get a category, whatever soul the woman has, if she has a Category 1, then the children get Category 1. So if a black guy marries a white woman, it's going to get children that are half white, half black, generally looked at as being black, but they'll have Category 1 souls. And then maybe they'll marry black a few more times, but keep passing on the Category 1 soul through the women. But the children will look pretty much all black, but they'll have Category 1 souls. And that's the case for, I have to look on my website, but it might be as high as 20% of the black population in the United States have Category 1 souls. They're doing real well. The black populations of Africa are probably lower. So anyway, Herschel Walker's in that group. He's got a very good, let me check his soul. Let's see, he's qualified for ascension. So his soul already completed the cycle. And like about 5 years, he figures to make individual ascension, probably 2027. So anyway, he's supposed to win this election. I get the other guys. I don't know if they're going to point out cheating on this other guy, or or maybe Herschel just wins the runoff and that's the end of it. And they're certainly going to try to cheat in the runoff if they can, with reptilians being involved. Anytime a reptilian is involved in whatever it is, they get extra money, extra publicity, extra whatever they can come up with. It's like an unfair game in life. especially those actors and entertainers. They get all the headlines and all the publicity. You know, that's the one to go see. This other guy that may be better, he's human, and you know, we're not going to advertise him. So that's how I see that election. Herschel Walker should have a big advantage here.
Okay, so let me go to another state. Okay, so
they're going to try to cheat him, though.
yeah.
Okay, we'll see.
Okay, so Nevada. So in the Senate, we have Adam Laxalt versus Catherine Cortez Masto. Adam Laxalt is a Republican. Catherine Cortez Masto.
He looks like the Republican guy is ahead 1.8%. All right, Adam Laxalt, what's his status? He's a human in cycle.
He's a human?
Yeah.
And what about Catherine Cortez Masto?
Yeah, he's got a low soul score, though. Catherine Cortez. She's human also in cycle.
Okay.
And her soul score, too. They both got lower soul scores. Low, like the high 30s, their soul scores. Yeah. Probably a lot of bad karma and stuff. So, looks like I guess we're hoping for the Republicans to win and take the Biden regime out of power.
Right. Yeah. These are all your opinions.
If they take the draconians out of power and put the lizards in power, supposedly things will improve for humanity. And then a month later, we'll get planetary ascension and go to fourth density, fifth dimension. And all the beings with reptilian souls will die, as well as half the living things, too. There won't be any more insects or spiders or mold or fungus. You know, the whole world's going to change and things are going to improve like 15%. I'm looking for that. I'm still getting that. Could be this year. 80% chance could be this year. Well, we'll have to see. All right, who's next?
Okay, so we're going to Ohio. Just hold your horses. Okay, J.D. Vance won over Tim Ryan. J.D. Vance versus Tim Ryan.
All right, what's his status? He's human in cycle. Tim Ryan, human in cycle. All right, probably move on.
Okay, so let's go in. Hold on. Pennsylvania. Here we have
yeah, that's a good one.
Versus Mehmet Oz. It looks like John Fetterman won the election.
Right. John Fetterman's a complete bozo. And he's been in politics for a while. He was a mayor and something else afterwards. And he did complete bozo moves right in everybody's face. And he's a complete stupid idiot doing evil stuff for the deep state. He's reptilian, draconian. And they're really cheating like crazy to get him in, is what I got. I mean, they're going all out to, I don't know what they did, but, I mean, what is he's got like 3.4% lead. If the other guy really got more votes, then
So you don't believe in U.S. election integrity.
not when there's people with reptilian souls involved.
Okay.
They're clear.
Does Muhammad Oz have, according to you, have a reptilian or a human soul?
Dr. Oz is human in cycle. Let's see, 90, 80, 70, 60, 50, 40, 30, 35. He's about a third done with this cycle. He's got a pretty young soul. And Fetterman's draconian, and they're normally in 5 or 10% done with their cycle. They always have a young soul there too.
Okay, we're already 1 hour into the program, so let me start picking up the pace of this. Okay, so here we are, Wisconsin. Ron Johnson, this is at the senator level. Ron Johnson versus Mandela Barnes. Ron Johnson.
Okay, Johnson. What's his status? He's a human in cycle. So, 2/3 done with this cycle. Soul score. Got a soul score in the higher 40s or middle 40s. Let's see this. Barnes is reptilian. So
Okay.
Mandela Barnes, yeah, he's even got the, Nelson Mandela was a reptilian. And he took that name, so it's like a giveaway almost that he's likely to be reptilian if he becomes a famous person.
Okay, so let me go to some other races here. Hold on. Congressional or state offices that have changed parties. Okay, House seats. Okay, in Florida, the U.S. House. Okay.
Okay. I think most of the seats.
Hold on. I haven't asked you a question. In Florida, in the Florida 13th, Charlie Crist was the House prior to the election, and now it's Anna Paulina Luna.
Luna's human in cycle.
What, Luna?
Yeah.
And Charlie Crist?
Is reptilian.
Okay, Illinois.
So they're taking some reptilians out of power. It's good.
Before it was Rodney Davis, and now it's Nikki Budinsky.
Rodney was a Republican reptilian, and Budzinski.
Yeah.
Budzinski she's human. So they knocked the Republican out and put a Democrat in, but they took our reptilian out and put a human in.
Is that good?
Well, I guess you want the humans in, even if they're in the party you don't like.
Okay.
I would rather have a human in the wrong party than a reptilian in the party I like.
Okay. Michigan. Peter Meyer. It used to be Peter Meyer, and now it's Hillary Shelton.
Peter Meyer was human in cycle. Harry, so reptilian got in this time. All right. The human got taken out. The human Republican got taken out, and a reptilian Democrat got in, which is bad.
Okay, in New Jersey, Tom Malinowski got taken out, and Thomas Skeen Jr. got put in.
Yeah, he's reptilian. And
Who?
Thomas
Who is
Malonsky, the one that was in Malonsky,
yeah.
he was reptilian. And then one that takes its place, human in cycle. Okay, and then the next one you got the New York's third is Zouzi, human Democrat. And then a Republican, George Santos. He's human too in cycle.
Okay.
You got Kathleen Rice taken out. She was reptilian. And Esposito, he's human in cycle. Okay, that's good. Okay, next one, New York 17th. You got Mondaire Jones. He's human. And Michael Lawyer. Yeah, I was looking at this race. He's a Republican reptilian got in, I guess. This Lawyer, he's reptilian. Yeah, he's reptilian. Okay, then you got Pat Ryan got knocked out. Pat Ryan was reptilian. And then Mark Monolero, he's human, got in. So you're having some of everything, but mostly improvement with more human Republicans are getting in.
Okay, let's go to North Carolina.
Okay, Bud is human. Okay, and then Nickel. In this case, the reptilian Democrat got in, which is bad. Okay, Ohio first. Human that got knocked out. And Lands from that's human too. The Democrat got in over the Republican, but they're both human. And the fifth on Tennessee, the Democrat was reptilian, got knocked out. And the winner, Andy Origins, or however you say that, I can't. OGs or something. He's a human Republican. Texas, 34th. You got human Republican knocked out. Democrat human got in. Virginia, you got number Loria. Loria is the reptilian Democrat. And Jennifer Kiggins is Republican human, got in. And the last one, or this one, Wisconsin, Ron Kine was reptilian. And Derek Van Orden, Republican human, got in. You got gubernatorial races.
Yeah.
Okay, you got two Democrats knocked out. They're both human.
No, wait. You have Maryland. It used to be Larry Hogan.
Yeah, do one at a time. Yeah, Hogan. He's a human Republican. And then the winner is Wes Moore, and he's a human Democrat. And in Massachusetts, Charlie is reptilian Republican, lost the election to Mary Hainsley, which is a human Democrat. All right, Massachusetts, pretty heavy Democrat state anyway. Iowa, you got Tom Miller. You want to do that one? No, forget that one. It's too minor.
Yeah, there's no. So I'm just going down here to look at.
Shows the whole chamber is flipped. So Michigan. I guess Michigan flipped all to Democrat.
The Michigan House of Representatives flipped from Republican to Democrat, and then the Senate flipped from Republican, and Michigan flipped from Republican to Democrat. The Senate in Minnesota flipped from Republican to Democrat. These are the state houses.
Yeah.
Pennsylvania,
I wonder how much cheating.
okay, now I'm just going down here to see if there's any things that we should look at. There's federal presidential election, congressional races. We've covered those. Let me go back up and see if there's anything.
I still think they got to arrest these people and check their aura to see if they're human. They can get a lot of evil people out of power that way, and then make it public. Show the world.
The problem is that it's it goes against the Bill of Rights.
What's in the bill? How does that work?
That's an unlawful. That's an unlawful search and seizure. You know.
What checking somebody's aura?
Yeah, hold on. I'm trying to look at other seats. This is governor of Kansas.
Okay,
Laura Kelly.
What's your? Okay, I'm getting Kelly's reptilian.
Let me go to Nevada.
And her opponent is
Steve Sisolak.
in investigation. No, okay.
Joe Lombardo.
He's human. And Steve Solonick, he's a reptilian. So the reptilian Democrat lost in this to the Republican human.
Yeah.
Hey, that's
go to Oregon and see what's there. Tina Kotek versus Christine Drazan.
Wow, they're giving it to
that's the Working Families Party.
She's human. She's human, and then the second place one, Drazan. She's a Republican reptilian.
Okay. Josh Shapiro, governor of Pennsylvania, versus Doug Mastriano.
He's human. And the second place is
who's human? John
Shapiro is human and Democrat and won, and Doug Mastriano
Mastriano.
Mastriano is human also.
Okay, let me go to Wisconsin. Governor Tony Evers and Tim Mitchells.
Tony Evers. What's this? Tony Evers is a reptilian Democrat. And looks like he's winning by a few percentage. Tim Michaels is a human Republican. They're going to investigate here. They're going to investigate that one.
Well, he's already been declared the winner, the Democrat.
Maybe he already conceded or something. I don't know. I don't know how that all works. What if the guy concedes and then they investigate? Can they overturn it or not?
Okay, we're going to go to the U.S. House. Okay, Mary from Alaska, Mary Peltola, Nick Begich, and Sarah.
Mary Peltola is reptilian.
Nick Begich.
Yeah, he's a writer in our community, Nick Baggage. He's human, of course.
Yeah, and Sarah Palin.
He's qualified for ascension.
Sarah Palin.
She's reptilian, I know.
Okay. Let me just close this up. Okay, I'm going to California's 22nd Congressional District. These are people I don't know. David Valadao and Rudy Salas. I don't know.
He's human.
He's what?
David G. Valadao is human.
Oh, good.
And he won. And Rudy Santos.
Salas.
He's human also. Yeah.
Okay, let me see if any of these are of consequence.
He skipped Colorado there.
Okay, here we have New Hampshire. Chris Pappas beat Caroline Levitt.
Chris Poppins, I'm getting reptilian. Reptilian Democrat wins the election over the Republican human.
Okay, let me go to Ohio.
He never did Colorado there. I think he skipped.
Okay, let me do Colorado.
I've been seeing a lot on that state. Okay, you got a leader in Democrat, and that one's reptilian Democrat. Yadra Caravia is a Democrat reptilian.
And Barbara Kirkmeyer.
Barbara Kirkmeyer is a human Republican. And I guess that race is close enough where it's not decided yet.
Right. They are, if they decided, their candidate will have a check mark. Okay, Ohio, here you have a check mark for Greg Landsman, the Democrat.
Yeah, I'm human on him. And then Steve, the loser that's Republican is human also.
Okay, and finally, Oregon's 5th Congressional District. That's Lori Chavez Raymer and Jamie McLeod Skinner.
Okay, she's the winner. Lori Raymer is human, and the loser Jamie McLeod Skinner, Democrat Independent. She is human also.
Okay, let me just see if there's anything worth looking at here. Okay, U.S. Congress. Oh, I see. U.S. elections. State executive, state legislatures, state executives.
State judges.
Yeah, well, we don't know who they are.
Well, okay. I was just seeing what came up on it. All right. I mean, that's click it and see what you get.
Sorry?
Click judges and see what you get.
Okay, I just have to go back to that page.
Yeah, never mind. You don't have to.
It'll take just a moment. I just got to get back there.
That's what's screwing everything up. Is they're making so many judges are reptilian.
Okay, states. I've got state Supreme Court. You want to do that?
Okay. I'll do whatever you want.
Okay, I've just got North Carolina State Supreme Court. Richard Dietz.
We're getting human on him and using Erman human. I'm getting human on both of those.
Well, there you go. And Ohio. Sharon Kennedy and Jennifer Bruner.
Human and the Democrats that lost, Jennifer is reptilian. And then Patty D. Wine, she's human. And the Maryland Zanos is human also. Pat Flisher, human. Terry Jemison, she's reptilian. So the human Republicans got in every case here.
Yeah, I'm curious about something. Let me do this. Just hold on a second.
What state is this? Ohio. Okay.
Yeah, hold on a second. Okay, so this is the one that I would like to do right now. I'll get there. Let me just stop screen, present, share. Okay, can you see that?
Yeah.
Supreme Court. Okay.
Yeah, every single member of the Supreme Court has a reptilian soul and a draconian soul.
Okay, so that's John G. Roberts, Clarence Thomas, Samuel Alito, Sonia Sotomayor, Nina Kagan, Neil Gorsuch, Brett Kavanaugh, Amy Coney Barrett, Ketanji Jackson.
Yeah, I can't believe they let her get in. And she's an obvious reptilian. That's why she got in, because she's reptilian. And all the people that got the vote on whether she gets in or not were mostly reptilian. I mean, they asked her, what is a woman? And she couldn't answer that. And they're going to let her on the Supreme Court. I mean, when they got a problem with that question, that shows that right there that they're not human. Right there that they got some kind of goofy agenda that ain't right. There's something fishy going, something obviously fishy going on that's way out of line. When this person in a high political office can't answer the question, what is a woman? They're clear cut. They're not human. They got a reptilian soul, or they're in a different group against humanity, and they got some agenda that's not right when they can't answer that question.
Okay, so let's take a look at this. I'm just going to share a different. I'm just going to put up some things for. So, okay, so now, just a second.
Okay. They're putting us fear, shame, and guilt.
Okay, so do you see that? A midterm stalemate will unleash turmoil and acrimony. In the run up to 2024. US democracy, which almost buckled 2 years ago, just delivered a perfect reflection of a polarized nation that mistrusts its leaders and isn't ready to unite on a new path. Tuesday's midterm elections gave Americans 2 more years to collectively decide what they really want by likely ushering in a divided government that is certain to be acrimonious, but will prevent Democrats or Republicans from engineering a major ideological shift. It also scrambled the terrain of the early 2024 presidential race, with President Joe Biden and ex-President Donald Trump moving toward new campaigns that much of the country appears not to want. Let me see if there's more here. Hold on. Okay, so what is could you repeat your assessment that the U.S. is currently under a reptilian government, and that its way toward the U.S. way toward liberation has to go in stages? You're saying that its first stage, it has to bring in a lizard government, namely a Trump government, and then by doing that, it will get to a human ascended government. Could you run through your thinking that way, just to put that out?
Well, we got these super evil people, deep state kind of thing, doing obvious, horrible evil right in our face. And you got these high-powered military humans, and they can go and arrest these people and take them out of power.
No, because
when are they going to all do it?
You can only arrest people for committing crimes, and having a reptilian soul is not a crime.
No, but
you're putting out nonsensical.
Conning everybody into taking a jab is a crime if it's harmful.
Yeah, but look. Yes, and they are being prosecuted. However,
right. Every single one of them that claim that or push that should be arrested. and if it can be determined that they're not human.
Let's stay away from that subject.
Yeah. Okay.
I agree. If it can be the soul subject.
Right. If it can be determined that they're not human.
With regard to the soul subject, having a reptilian soul is not a crime.
But they shouldn't be allowed to be in an elected position or a government position. They shouldn't be allowed to be part of the government if they're not human.
Okay. How can you prove that they're not human?
By checking their aura.
Okay. How are you going to check their aura in a way that's reliable? Look, just because Gary Peter Carlson says this is reptilian soul, this is human soul,
don't cut it.
That is not a legal standard.
Of course not. And that's the problem. But if you assume I'm right and you listen to what I say on a bunch of different people, and you watch all their activities for quite a while and what they do and who they associate with, and and everything they do, you can see that they're clearly in a different group than the rest of us.
Okay. I asked you a question which you haven't addressed.
Okay.
Gary, walk us through your assertion that in order to be liberated, the people first have to install a lizard government, which is a Trump government, and that will lead to human ascension. Walk us through that. Just be disciplined and walk us through that. Make an effort.
Okay, the top humans in the military need to arrest these people in high-powered positions that are doing clear-cut evil in terms of mass murder.
Okay.
Doing what I talked about before, but they're cutting the supply chain. They're telling farmers to plow their food under. They're burning all kinds of places, food places down. I mean, they did crime after crime after crime that contributes to ethnic cleansing, mass murder, or whatever. And now that they're losing the election, they're going into high gear with this war on white males.
Now, it seems to, so who won in your mind? Which group won the 2022 midterm election? Did the reptilians win it? Did the humans win it? Or was it a mixed bag?
Well, it was a mixed bag with mostly humans winning and mostly Republicans winning, which is better for humanity since the Democrats are controlled by the reptilians and they're doing destructive things to humanity. I mean, they're doing obvious criminal things against us right in our face, and they're not arresting them because they got the reptilians controlling law enforcement and the judges and all that. So these military people have to override all that.
Okay, so
Come in and on themselves decide these people are all working together to murder us. We got to grab them.
So what you're saying is that are you saying that the best solution is for Trump, who's a lizard, to run? Okay.
Yeah, they're supposedly the white hats, and if they arrest enough of these draconian deep state people and take them out of power and assume power themselves, and then put in a bunch of rules and everything that makes it way better for humanity. You know, have the prices go down and the supply
Let
go
me
up.
let me ask you who you believe. You've got on the one hand Donald Trump, okay? And you've got on the other hand the January 6th committee of the House of Representatives. And the January 6th committee has subpoenaed Donald Trump, okay? And they say that on January 6th, there's evidence that as president, Donald Trump broke the Constitution because he committed insurrection against the United States, which is a violation of Article 3, Section 3 of the Constitution, which prohibits treason. treason is defined as levying war against the United States. There's a whole bunch of other stuff. Okay, which do you believe? Do you believe the January 6th committee, or do you believe Donald Trump?
I believe Donald Trump. I mean, there was no insurrection. There was the other side set it all up and put all their people in to run the whole program, and then call it an insurrection by the other side. As what I saw on tapes and listening to people.
Okay.
I think it was
Now,
a big scam against Trump.
yeah, now, Governor DeSantis won with 40% of the vote in Florida. This is the record. What type of soul does Governor DeSantis have?
He's in cycle, human in cycle, 90, 80, 70, 60. He's about 2/3 done with his cycle. He's
Okay.
got a soul score of 49. He's doing pretty good.
Okay, so for 2024, from your perspective, which is the better choice, DeSantis or Trump?
Well, DeSantis, because he's human and Trump isn't. We always want the human in.
Okay, so
I mean, if the human's a mass murderer and the reptilian hasn't hurt nobody, you know, I mean, if it came to that, you got a tough decision, maybe.
So you would say if DeSantis and Trump right now, today's November 10th, and Trump stated his last public statement was that he was going to announce for president on November 15th. He may or may not do that. DeSantis may or may not announce for president, okay? But there's a lot of wind in those sails.
Yeah, if they run against each other, then they split the Republican vote and the Democrat wins, huh?
No, they have to compete for the Republican nomination.
Yeah.
Yeah. If Trump runs against DeSantis, who is going to win the Republican nomination?
Trump. Trump will probably win.
Okay.
He's a little more popular, maybe.
Okay. If Trump and Biden run against each other in 2024, who is going to win? Trump
wins against everybody every time right now. He's the most popular guy.
No, but that's not what the polls show.
Really?
Yeah. I'm asking you.
Okay, I don't think Biden wins any election. He's down there at 10% or whatever.
Okay. I'm asking you, Gary Peter Carlson, if Trump runs in 2024 versus the Democrat, who is going to be president in 2024?
Trump will be if we don't have this planetary ascension and he dies. If Trump runs for president and we don't move into fourth density, he's gonna win.
Okay.
If they don't cheat him, you know, last time he won and they cheated him. Now, as soon as this election stuff is over with, and all these people take their seats that they won, it seems like they're gonna have.
Okay, now I have
Biden out of power. Impeachment. They're going to impeach Biden right away.
But you can only impeach a president for high crimes and misdemeanors. Let me ask you questions, okay? Oh, the question escaped me now. Uh, uh, so, uh, so you're saying that Trump will win in 2024?
Yes, but we may have planetary ascension before that, so he's not around anymore.
Okay, let me ask you a question. Will Donald Trump be assassinated?
I get no.
Okay. Uh, will Joe Biden run in 2024?
I get no.
No.
Mm.
Okay, so probably Newsom or somebody like that.
He may be done in a couple months. Joe Biden may be all never heard of again after a couple months.
Right.
It might be the end of him. We'll see, though.
Right. Okay.
If they can call Trump for high crimes and misdemeanors, they certainly can do it on Biden. There's more dirt on him than there was on Trump.
Right. So that then they impeach. Suppose they impeach and convict Biden, and then Kamala Harris becomes president.
I'll do this.
And maybe that's great.
I guess I don't know. I heard this scenario where they impeach about 3 people to get to where they want. They put some Republican senator in as president after they impeach 3 people. I don't know if any of this can really happen. I don't see Biden staying in power. I see them taking them out right away. But I think the military has got to step up, and there's obvious evil people in power, and there's some evil people calling the shots, and they're doing horrible, evil things, and they're not in elected positions. They're just
but look,
in the background, and the military knows who these people are.
Yeah, but you have to follow the process of law. You're trying to infantilize everything. You have to follow the process of law.
Well, they're not. Why? Well, they don't have. They could do whatever if they're in the military and they got guns.
No, you can't, because
they
then
do what they want.
It's the law of the jungle, and we don't have a constitutional democracy.
Well, that's what the Democrats are arresting Republicans just because they're Republican in some cases, and they're holding them in prison. Yeah. They're doing all kinds of stuff totally against the law. I mean, there's real bad crap going on in our government. And I don't know if they're going to be able to stop it or what they should do. But I think the horrible evil people should check their aura.
Let me back up on this. I'm trying to get some perspective, because you seem to be very angry, and
yeah,
you're not solution oriented, at least in this talk.
Okay, I'll try to be.
Let's get solution oriented. Okay, so we started this program by saying that November 8th fell on a lunar eclipse, and the Buddha became enlightened on the lunar eclipse. And all human souls were affected by the lunar eclipse. So what effect did the lunar eclipse have on the midterm election?
It's softened the results. instead of the results being more one way, maybe it evened it out some. I don't know.
Yeah. People are saying Gary is very calm, Alfred is angry. So that's what some people in the.
I'm very angry that these people with reptilian souls are in power and control, and it's 100% obvious who they are and what they are doing. And these military people with guns could come and arrest these people and incarcerate them, since
They don't have the military people can only act where they have orders or where they're acting under law, and they don't have the authority of law to act. We do not live in a military dictatorship.
They can
and it's people like you that are promoting these Looney Tune memes that we live in a military dictatorship.
Well, I think they're doing some of what I'm saying already. I want them to do more of it and make it public. And I want them to publicly check some people's auras and show the world what's going on there. Show them, look at these people come out different than those people. Why is that? Let's ask some experts on what this means. I don't know. I think some of that could be done. But I mean, when people are in a position of power and they're mass murdering people and there's clear evidence of it, it seems like the people below them that have guns should stop it and take them out. And it seems like that will be the case at some point.
Well, good.
We'll have planetary ascension first. But something's going to give here.
Okay. So explain to me the mechanism of how, because when the U.S. gets a lizard government, you're going to have planetary ascension after that. Explain to me how.
Okay, supposedly the horrible evil in control, the deep state or whatever, that is actively trying to murder people in several ways. If they're arrested by the so-called white hats, and it's publicly said that Trump's president again and he really won the election, and they're putting him as president because of the election where they cheated the election, and we're saying that Biden didn't win, and we're putting Trump back in. Supposedly that can happen and may happen pretty soon. And if it does, a bunch of things will change that will be better for humanity. Won't be everything perfect like it should be, but basic principles will improve. We'll have more freedom or whatever. And then a month after, and because of this more freedom and things improving, a month later, we're going to have our planetary ascension and move into fourth density. And then we go into a higher dimension and express differently. Things will improve about 15%. And our bodies will stay the same, but the new people born will be a little different, taller and thinner. And we'll have and live for like 350 years or something. I think that's coming up pretty soon. I'm still getting 80% chance it can happen this year. And I don't know why. I don't know why we gotta wait. I guess humanity is discharging karma, and at some point, we've discharged enough karma. They're gonna change. They're gonna upgrade us. When we upgrade, and all these evil people are gone, now we gotta. They're owners of a lot of things, and now humans have to move up and take this ownership position. In some cases, they won't know the codes and passwords and everything to run stuff, and they'll have to wade through that. It'll be an organizational period that may take like 6 months, and people could die and starve to death, stuff not be delivered during this period. So that's going to be a big deal there, reorganizing everything. And there'll be a lot of smart people involved to try to make this happen. We should all get free energy. They should have proper food replicators where they can replicate any food perfectly. Take a piece of steak and create another one exactly like it, and it looks and tastes the same, and maybe even have more nutrients in it. And then I think they're also going to have portal travel real quick, where you can like walk through a hoop and go anywhere on the planet that you're allowed to go. So if you want to look around Hawaii for 1 hour and have lunch, and then go to Vienna after that or whatever, you could. Yeah, it wouldn't be costly. Well,
Okay.
maybe we about wrap this up, Alfred.
Yeah, because we're almost at the 2 hour mark. So over to you to wrap it up. I mean, what have you brought to the public here? What is your essential message, and what is the vision? What is the summation of the vision that you're bringing? What is the positive solution here that you're bringing?
Well, I would say that we're getting these people with reptilian souls out of power slowly but surely.
Okay.
Several of them lost in the election, which is an improvement. And supposedly this military is grabbing and arresting people. Unfortunately, they're doing it in secret. And so we don't know how much is happening, and supposedly some of the people that are arrested and executed can be replaced by clones or lookalikes, and then this evil group can keep that position of power. If it's like a representative or a governor or something, or the president, they can keep that position and stuff some kind of body in there or CGI or whatever and keep the power. I think that's what's going on now, and we're going to stop that. We're going to improve things for humanity by getting these people out of power. I wish that it would become public where more people would know about it. You know, I keep trying to get this information out, but you're about the only other internet speaker that's willing to repeat it or go along with what I believe is true.
Okay. Could you tell people show people what your website is like and what services they can get there?
Okay, this is still my website. And my main product is a soul report. I find out about 10 to 15 things on your soul. I remove all the curses, spells, and implants, and I explain how everything works. Now, I can also clear houses of evil spirits from where I am, and I'll do that. Pay just a little bit more with your soul report, and if your house has evil spirits, I can clear that. I have a past life reading. I don't highly recommend it though, but I answer 7 questions about each past life. I do 2 past lives on that. And if you have a tough life-changing decision, I'll check on that and ask about it several different ways and try to give you the best answer on that.
Okay, well,
Having a guy improve my website. I don't know when anything's going to change, but it's coming up.
well, good. Well, listen, thank you very much, and we look forward to our next panel together. So,
all right, thanks a lot for having me, Alfred.
yeah, Gary Peter Carlson, and thank you very much for the participation of those in the chat, and we look forward to our future programs and to the gradual improvement and ascension of our awake and aware human population and our ascending human population now in 2022, leading to 2024 and forward. Thank you.
All right.
Okay.
Bye.